It's your boy Amreezy, and I'm back with another Road to Sorare Boss episode where we follow my journey in the wonderful world of Sorare. If that sounds like your cup thing, get comfortable. Get comfortable. Enjoy the Sorare content. Give it a like and a subscribe. Helps me out hugely. Let's get on to Sorare. I'm in a good mood because the weekend just gone. I had what I would consider my best ever weekend on Sorare. And it feels good because, I've been moving away from a strategy. I've been playing for about a year on Sorare and moving away from a classic strategy where when I first started Sorare, I was just playing capped leagues, getting cards that were good for capped leagues. So I assumed a bit of a gallery that was good for capped leagues. And I won a few $5 here and there, and I won a few cards. But when Sorare changed, I've had to slowly move my gallery, and it's taken me until about a month ago to realize Premier League in season is where you belong, Amreezy. You belong Premier League in season because that's your favorite league. That's where the team you support plays. That's the league you watch the most. So I've been moving my gallery to there. I think I bought like £75. I decided, okay, I'm going to put £75 in Premier League in season and see how far it goes. We won some cash this weekend, so I can kind of mentally go, well, won some cash back already. That's good. And have some good cards for the rest of the season. And as my classic gallery's been thinning, Premier League in season is becoming more important. It's all I really think about now. It's when I'm looking at the market, when I'm looking for bargains, when I'm doing my scouting. It's helped me because before I was scouting the Mexican League, the Challenger Leagues, MLS, Premier League, all of the European Big Five leagues, trying to keep an eye on who's the team this year in Bundesliga, who's going to be the Leverkusen this year, who's going to be the team that's challenging Real Madrid and Barcelona, who's going to be the Girona of Spain last year, who's going to be that this year. So this is a long way of me saying, by just focusing on Premier League in season, I seem to be getting better results and I seem to be having more fun. I'm still taking a lot of time. Sorare is still consuming my life, but at least this is one league. I did feel like I was spread too thinly before. When I look back at Sorare before the league changes, I was just trying to watch so much football, trying to be across all football, reading injury news from like the Austrian league, reading injury news from MLS and all of these leagues. Whereas now it does feel like Premier League in season, that's my focus. And then with whatever classic cards I have left in my gallery, usually Premier League cards from Chelsea that have moved to Europe, or Santos cards, because I've got a Santos full collection now. Those are the cards that I kind of play around with in the classic leagues that I don't really expect much in seasons or the specials. Because if you remember 2 weeks ago, I did really well in the Sorare special competition that week. So that's another theory for me. Focus on Premier League in season and whatever special Sorare have that week, because there's better cash prizes there, as I've learned this week. So let's start there, shall we, this week? Let's start off by looking at how we did last weekend in the wonderful, fun, exciting, glorious world of Sorare. Right then, here we go. This is how I did last weekend in what was game week December the 10th or 13th, which was game week 34. Incorrect. It was game week 33. Game week 34 is the midweek game week that's currently going on live as I speak. And I just wanted to briefly show how disappointing this is. Chelsea, my theory was to try and get Chelsea cards for the Conference League because I had most of the cards anyway, so I just added the goalkeeper and I think one defender, maybe Disasi, to basically complement Nkunku, Felix, Dewsbury Hall, Neto, all of these players that I had. And it worked one Conference League game it won. I won a tier 3 card. It was a player that I've just actually sold, Kang In Lee from PSG, so I just sold him actually. But it was a good week that week. It kind of made me think this is going to be a good strategy. However, the last few group games of this Conference League game, when Chelsea have already seemingly qualified, seem to be topping the group, they're resting even more players at the moment. And the players that they're playing, if you saw the Chelsea starting lineup today, it's like players that don't even have Sorare cards. So I got these 3 right, but Nkunku was rested and João Felix was rested. I don't quite know why, because they're players that don't play in the Premier League. And even though it wasn't an important game and they've probably already qualified they're probably already going to win the league stage of the Conference League, they still should have played them, I think, because it's like, they're not going to play in the Premier League. Nkunku and Felix probably aren't going to play in the Premier League this weekend. So I was surprised to see them dropped. But it does make sense. Maresca rested even more of the B team, and it was like C team players playing. So What can you do? So nothing to report from this midweek. I do hope when the Conference League goes to the knockout stages, Maresca will stop messing around and we'll just play that B team that we all know that Chelsea always play every Conference League game at the beginning of the season. And then hopefully I'll be able to put up good lineups in the knockout stages of the Conference League when maybe the other competing teams have harder games and don't score as well. Chelsea should still have good fixtures even when it's the knockout round. They're favourites to win the competition, so I should, in theory, have good midweek squads in the knockout rounds. So this weekend just gone, the special competition was an anti-stacks, and as you can see, I won $10 from an anti-stacks. So my theory seems to be correct. Focus on Premier League in season, and then the next most important competitions for me are the special competitions, whatever the special competition is, because there's better cash prizes there. And for example, this lineup would have been contender, challenger, contender, Premier League. So there's no way I would have played those together in the classic modes. There's no way I would have had a good contender classic lineup to go along with these two. There's no way I would have had a good challenger lineup to go with these two. And Enzo Fernandez didn't fit in any of my Premier League lineups. So this lineup fit perfectly. Won me $10. Won me a box. Happy days. This wasn't a special, but I'm still playing the warm-up leagues, where I am also finding if I don't go so hard on the classic leagues and I focus a little bit more harder on the warm-up leagues and use, say, one card that I have left over in Challenger that's good but doesn't have 4 good cards to go with it, throw it in the warm-up. And I've been picking up a few boxes from the warm-up leagues. So I think unless you're a Sorare Pro whale with loads of cards, warm-up leagues probably aren't for you. But if you're in either a beginner or you're like me, where you don't have a huge gallery and you're playing on a bit of a budget, it's a great way because you've probably got a good contender card. You've probably got a good challenger card. And throwing them in the warm-ups just seems to be way more rewarding than throwing them in classic lineups. So, special, I won $10. This special, I didn't do so well because my goalkeeper didn't play. He's injured. So, Bilal's injured. I think he's expected to miss one more week after this weekend coming up. Then he should be back. He's my only challenger goalkeeper, so I can't put any challenger lineups out without Bilal coming back. Conor Gallagher didn't do so well. His form's Conor the Pitbull. His form's dropped a little bit for Atletico Madrid, which is disappointing for me because when he moved, he was killing it. Great scores, but yeah. Then we go to Premier League in season, my bread and butter, where I put 3 lineups out. 1, 2, 3, and got promoted in all 3 leagues. I think I bought some good cards. I think I haven't spent that much in relatively. And, I bought Estupinan for like £1 something or £2, was it? Estupinan I bought for £2 and 6 pence. And he gave me an 81 this week, gave me a good score last week. He seems like he's hitting good form. Brighton are playing good at the moment. They're, I think, 7th or 6th in the table. So happy that I've got some kind of Brighton angle covered. Wolves are really disappointing. They're the cards that I've bought that I'm the least happy with. Nottingham Forrest, happy with those. Bournemouth, happy with those. All of the one-off cards that I bought, like a Estupinan, happy with him. But the Wolves cards, they were so bad against West Ham. I watched this game because if you remember, like if you saw last week's video, I was saying that I've got a lot of Wolves cards and I've also got West Ham Classic cards. So I put out my 2 best Wolves attackers in my best Premier League lineup. And I put my West Ham cards in this Premier League Classic lineup. So I was kind of hoping, watching this game, one of those teams is going to do better. I wanted it to be Wolves because that's my in-season cards. It wasn't Wolves in the end. They were terrible. Cunha did nothing. Larson did nothing. Really wondering if I should sell Larson now and sell a lot of the other Wolves cards that I have and just keep Cunha and get rid of the others. But Cunha wasn't up for the races at this game. It does seem that if Wolves at the beginning of a game are under the cosh, they're struggling, Cunha doesn't seem like he's up for it. None of them seem like they're up for it. I don't know if they need to change the manager and then maybe my Wolves cards. That's kind of what I'm hoping. They change the manager and then they go on a good run and I keep the cards for that. But at the moment, I'm not going to be putting any more Wolves cards, no matter the fixture, in my best Premier League lineup, because they played on, I think, was it Monday or Sunday? Sunday, these guys. But these 3 cards all played before Wolves. So I knew I was on course for a good finish this week because I had a Estupinan, a goal. That's a fairly okay score for a goalkeeper, and Cole Palmer smashed it. So I knew if my Wolves boys delivered, I was going to do really well. In the end, they both did bad, but I still managed to get a $15 cash prize, which is good because I've never won a cash prize in season before. But considering these guys all went before and I was on course for like a £25 cash prize at one point, it's a little bit of a shame, but it's lessons learned. In season's working. Wolves maybe take a bit off. Wolves maybe don't go so hard on Wolves. And now that I've got this cash to spend, I also have some Ethereum to spend because I sold my Kang In Lee PSG card and someone bought it with Ethereum. So I've got a little bit of money here to spend. I bought one player. I'll show you who that was in a bit. I bought one player with the cash, and I'm kind of waiting for maybe market credits so I can spend a bit more, or I'm just waiting for the right card. At the moment, we have these Sorare Christmas cards that have come out, Neon Christmas, which are beautiful, by the way. Beautiful cards. However, it does mean all of the prices have gone up in the auction because everybody wants the Neon Christmas card. And the secondary market there's a few bargains to be had there. So I'm looking there because I can't spend market credits on the secondary market anyway. So if I buy any cards with this money, I think it's going to be second-hand Premier League in-season cards. Or I see if there's a bargain in the auction, because there is still a good deal with the auction where, because of this advent calendar they're doing, like today, for example, there's a 50% chance you can win another card from that division if you buy a card. So that's another thing I'm thinking. Is there a good card yet where I might pay a little bit more for that player in the auction than they would usually be going for? But now I've got a 50% chance of getting another card. So it might be worth me possibly thinking about that. So I am studying the markets quite carefully at the moment. But for now, I've only bought one card. I'll show you who that is in a bit. So let's have a look at, like I said, Wolves did bad. These guys did good. Then I backed Bournemouth. Bournemouth were playing Ipswich. It's one of the fixtures why I bought Bournemouth, because they have Ipswich last weekend, and this weekend coming, they've got a good fixture as well. That was the reason why I bought the Bournemouth cards. And they got me a promotion. They got me a 2-star box, but Evan Nielsen, unfortunately, did nothing, was involved in nothing, got substituted, didn't have the best of days by his high standards so far. So that was a bit disappointing because the rest of the cards kind of gave me good scores. So Zabani, by the way, great defender. A great pick. Lewis Cook, a great pick. When Bournemouth have good fixtures, Kepa, part of my Chelsea collection, but also doing well as a Premier League goalkeeper now, delighted. Then I got a promotion in my Division 5 card. I thought maybe Jorgensen will get a game because he played the last Premier League game and was good against Southampton. But Sanchez came back for the Tottenham game. Wasn't that convincing. I'd play Jorgensen if I was the Chelsea manager. I'd play Jorgensen, but manager like Sanchez because he's good with his feet. So yeah. Despite not having a DMP goalkeeper, I still managed to get a promotion in a box with these 4 cards because the Nottingham Forest boys beat Manchester United. Surprisingly, I didn't think that would happen. Even though they've been in good form, they have been struggling, Forest, against the bigger teams. I think I still think of Manchester United as a bigger team, and no offense to Manchester United fans, maybe they're not as one of the big teams like I think. So Forest beating them shouldn't be as a surprise as I think. And Totti did okay, 54 for a Wolves defender. That's not bad. Premier League Classic, I won a box and got a promotion because West Ham beat Wolves. So my kind of gamble on one of them delivering worked because West Ham delivered. And now I'm thinking, West Ham, they've got a win. Maybe they can go on a bit of a run. I don't know who they've got this weekend coming up. But I know I've backed him. We'll see later in my Premier League lineups coming up. I think I'm backing West Ham again in one of my lineups. So I'm hoping West Ham can get going finally. I do think Kudos is an amazing player. And since he's come back, West Ham have got better. I think he's the most attacking and he's the best midfielder West Ham have. And with him and Bowen, I think I've got the 2 best attacking players at West Ham. And I've got the goalkeeper and Kilman, who's the best defender. So when West Ham have a good fixture, I do have 4 really good cards that I think I'm going to just keep playing them, keep hoping West Ham do well, and play them with someone like Nicholas Jackson, who's usually a good scorer. Then I put out another Premier League Classic team, which did nothing. Lavia, 73 points. Lavia, in-season Lavia. This could be a good card for me. I bought him a few weeks ago because of my Chelsea knowledge. And I was like, every Chelsea fan knows Lavia's playing really well. His Sorare scores aren't quite delivering it, but against Spurs, we saw a 73. His scores are starting to match his actual playing form. So if that continues, he could be a nice little in-season card for me this year. Fulkrug, I thought maybe because he played the last game, Fulkrug came off the bench. I thought against Wolves, maybe he comes off the bench again, and that's a nice fixture. Didn't even come off the bench. Fulkrug has been one of the most annoying cards I've owned, and I refuse to sell him because I just know as soon as I sell him, that's when he comes in the West Ham team, and that's when he starts scoring. So I'm holding on to Fulkrug till the end of the season. I don't care. I don't care what happens. I'm only going to get like 50p from him if I sell him anyway. So I'm keeping him out of stubbornness. I don't do that with many cards. A lot of cards I sell, I take the loss, and I move on. I invest that money into other places where I think I can get rewards. Fulkrug, however, is one of those cards I'm being stubborn with because I just want to see something from him in the second half of the season. So maybe he could be a good classic Premier League striker in the second half of the season when West Ham sack their manager, get David Moyes back, and start performing. Let's see. Then there was a warm-up league. I'm not really going to talk about my warm-up leagues. I do win a few boxes in the warm-up leagues, but I don't think they're that exciting to talk about. And I'm basically just picking one card who has a good fixture and then 4 cards like this. This is an example of what I'm doing with all of my warm-up leagues. This guy is a good contender card. Not the best, but he's okay. On his day, he can hit well. So that's a warm-up card strategy. 3 Celtic cards because they have a good fixture, and then a River Plate card because they also have a good fixture. Although he's not a River Plate anymore. He's now at Spartak Moscow, but Barco's been killing it. 150 from him. So I picked 4 cards that should do well and a card that is in the middle. On the 23s, we got relegated from Division 1. Santiago Jimenez didn't deliver like we thought. Minda didn't deliver like we thought. And Ravic was the main one. Didn't play. No idea why. No idea. Just rested. So we got relegated from Division 1 in under 23, which I'm fine with. We're going to hopefully bounce between Division 2 and Division 1. Division 2 and Division 1. And by going into Division 2 and getting promoted every now and again, we've probably got a better chance of winning boxes than staying in Division 1 with a team that isn't going to compete with the likes of Bellingham, Yamal, Musiala. I see those lineups out there. My lineup's not there, so we are probably a Division 2 quality, but there could be weeks when we get promoted into Division 1 and then we just hit that week. So those are the weeks I'm hoping for. And then a warm-up league where, look, we got a box from a warm-up league. So it's worth playing the warm-up leagues because you throw Destiny Udogie in there. He doesn't even have to do well. If you just nail the 4 big guys, and you don't even have to be that knowledgeable about football to know that Trubin, Bellingham, Palmer, and Diallo are 4 big scorers. So I was just hoping Destiny Udogie would be involved. Like, I knew Tottenham would score a lot against Chelsea. Chelsea's defense is nothing to be proud about. But I did hope Destiny Udogie would maybe get an assist in there. They got 3 goals. He got no involvements. So that was a shame. Well, not a shame as a Chelsea fan. I was delighted that we beat Spurs, but shame score-wise. And then there were some training lineups. So let's just show you the card that I've bought since last week. I haven't bought any cards for a while. They've changed this layout, which I like. So if we go gallery, new cards. So these are the 2 cards that I've got since last week. As you can see, the last cards that I bought before that, which like a month ago. So I haven't bought any cards for a month because I bought my Premier League in-season cards. And then I was happy to see how they performed. And I think they performed quite well. The 2 cards that I bought, I didn't buy this guy. I won him as a reward from a Rivals reward. I'm now in Division 4 in Rivals. So I think I came 2nd or 3rd in Division 5 last week. Got promoted and won a card in the promotion box. Jordan Lefort, nothing special. Plays in France. I don't have any French league cards to play with him, especially as I sold the PSG one. So I'll probably try and sell him or trade him or see if he goes on a good run of form. Let's see. I've not really studied him much. I'll probably sell him. Leif Davis is the card that I bought. £1.71. And first of all, I think the cards are beautiful. And like if you just compare the in-season to the Christmas in-season, It looks so much nicer with the black, with the frosting here. And I know it's cosmetic. I know they score the same as these cards, but congratulations to Sorare for making cards that people want. And you can see that they want just from the price activity. People want them because they look more beautiful. They look more beautiful than the normal ones. The normal ones looked exciting before when we were comparing them to last season's classic cards. Now these are here and they're great. Now I'm not going to be paying like double the price for one because I don't think it's worth it. Like say Lavia I've seen going for like £10. I bought him for £6 in this card, so I wouldn't pay massively over the price. But with Leif Davis, his neon card was being sold in the secondhand market for cheaper than these designs. So I didn't buy this card because it was the Neon Christmas. It was just a nice coincidence that it was. And I think confidence in Leif Davis has gone from the beginning of the season, when at the beginning of the season, everyone was talking of him as possibly being one of those cheap value defenders. Because in the championship, look how he was scoring. This is how he was scoring last season in the championship. 90s, 80s, really well, because he takes the set pieces, he takes corners, free kicks, a very attacking left back, gets assists, gets good scores. Now, obviously, if we look at the Premier League form, it's dipped because Ipswich have been struggling. So I'm buying him because his price has come down a lot. I just really like him. I've seen Ipswich a few times this season, and I really like how he plays. If Ipswich do well, he's usually involved in the action because he takes all of the set pieces. Say Ipswich have a tricky game, but they get one goal. There's a good chance Leif Davis is going to get a goal involvement. And as a defender, I think that's really exciting. So they've got Wolves this week. So I bought him for this 1 week. And I bought him for the long run. This is a card that I think I want to keep for a long time. I think next season, if Ipswich get relegated, that's going to be a great card to play in Challenger. He'll be in Challenger, but he'll be like, he should be, if Ipswich get relegated next season, he should score and he stays at Ipswich, his score should go back to this. If he leaves it at Ipswich, he'll be playing for a better team. And I think the type of player he is, he should do well at a team like Newcastle, Liverpool. He's an Andy Robertson type of player. He's an attacking wingback who takes set pieces. If he goes to a team and takes set pieces for a better team, I think he could do really well. So I think at £1.71, even if it's just for this game week against Wolves, I've got to go for it. Ipswich at Wolves, they're going to want to bounce back. They've not been playing really bad. Their results haven't been great, Ipswich, but they're not playing really bad. And, you know, he got a good score here against Leicester. He got a good score against Brentford, against Villa, against Brighton, against Fulham. So I think, yeah, he's had a bad game against Manchester United and Nottingham Forrest. But they're tricky fixtures. Palace and Bournemouth, you would have expected a bit more, but the reason why his price has come down now is because he did nothing against Palace and Bournemouth, and people are frustrated with him. So I'm kind of buying him, hoping that he turns his form, or Ipswich turn their form, and what better of a game to do that than Wolves. So I bought Leif Davis for those reasons. I've not bought anyone else. I do get this itchy feeling where it's like, I've got money to spend. I should spend 20 quid on a Premier League in-season card. I've been making offers in the managing market. The player that I want the most is Caicedo at Chelsea. I just think he's around about £20. So I've been trying to make bids just under that to try and get a bargain. I've not got it yet. There's a few other players that I've got. I've created a little watch list, scout list. So I'm just going to be waiting for the right bargain to come along and then I'm going to pounce. But I've got the player. It's not like I'm going to be making a decision like an impulsive decision where I see someone in the sort of auction and I go, ooh, there's a player that I want. So my current thing today, I've got a 50% chance. It's usually been 20% chance of... oh, wait, it's a 50% chance the card you buy is special edition. Not I get a second card. Okay, I'm glad I read that. It's not as good as I thought. I'm hoping as the days go on, the prizes get better and there's going to be a day where it's like 75% chance of getting a second card from that league if you buy one. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. But yeah, I'm keeping my eye on the market and I'm not just going to buy anyone. I do have a watch list of Premier League cards that if any of them are at a good price, then I pounce. If they don't, I'm going to be patient and keep my money for maybe market credits, because if I get market credits, like 50% market credits, I'll feel better about spending a bit more. Then I can buy a player for £40 with that £20. So yeah, I'm waiting. That's me. That's me this weekend. Let's have a look at my lineups for the coming weekend. Okay, here we go. These are my lineups for game week 35, the coming weekend, which is December the 13th to the 7th. We've got a warm-up league here with Lavia 20%. I think he's a bit of a... I think I put him as 50%. I put him in this lineup because I think it's 50-50 if he plays. He has been really good. And I think against Brentford, I think he might play. So there's a good chance he plays, or at least comes off the bench. And then I've gone for Barcelona. Then we've got the specials. Remember, the specials are my kind of second priority after Premier League lineups. And it's not going to be every week where I have a special lineup that works really well and I go, cool, I'm going to do well and I feel confident. But I think every maybe other week, I'm feeling the specials are kind of working for my gallery. This week, I feel it's not as certain as last week when I won some cash. This week, I'm not as confident, but if Jimenez does well and McNeil does well. So I'm confident about these three cards. Burgos have got a good game. It's a bit of a three-pointer for Burgos. And Sancris is in amazing form. So he's captain. Dwight McNeil against Arsenal. Now, I don't know why I think that. This is a feeling. I haven't studied the data. I just feel like Arsenal are struggling after Champions League games this season. Like I said, I'm just blaming that on a feeling. I've just got a feeling Arsenal might be a bit tired after Monaco midweek, where they play, an A team, and then Everton, who have a rest, need a win. They beat Wolves 4-0 or something, which maybe their confidence is a little bit up a few weeks ago. So I don't know. Dwight McNeil has dropped off form massively, but if this is why he's in this lineup and not my Premier League classic lineups, because this is a bit of a gamble. So maybe Dwight McNeil scores one or is involved in one goal. Arsenal win like 4-1 and Dwight McNeil could be involved. Maybe that's kind of what I'm hoping for here. And Santiago Jimenez is a bit of a risk because he's been coming off the bench lately. I think he may have started one game, but he's been coming off the bench from his injury. It's a good fixture. They've got a great fixture, I think, against a team who I think are like 15th in the table. It's a good fixture. So even if he comes off the bench, he could do well. So these two are a little bit of a risk, which is why they're in this lineup. But who knows? This special lineup I'm even less confident about. It's the underdog special where you had to have your L15s for all your players under 45. So Ramsdale, they keep saying every week, Ramsdale could be back this week. I don't think he's going to play this week, but he might. The manager in his press conference a few days ago did say Ramsdale is touch and go whether he plays. So you never know. Maybe he's going to miss another game. If he does miraculously come back this week, this is a gamble lineup. Beste should come off the bench. Dominguez doesn't always start. Duran's usually on the bench. So this is a really gamble lineup. Then we get to our bread and butter. Premier League in season. Here we go. And I'm going to be going for Bournemouth. Division 1 in season. Bournemouth are the team I'm backing this week. This is why I bought these Bournemouth cards a few weeks ago, because of the fixture they had last week and the fixture they have this week. West Ham at home is a great fixture. Evan Nielsen, I want to see him doing better than he did last weekend. If he can get back to scoring, we could get a good score from Evan Nielsen. Zabani has been scoring really well. 100-odd score last week. Can he keep his good form up? Lewis Cook, I do envisage, that's the word. Bournemouth v West Ham being a very scrappy game in the midfield. I think you've got the likes of Lewis Cook. You'll have Edson Alvarez. You'll have maybe Guido at West Ham. Bournemouth will maybe play Lewis Cook, maybe Billing. I think it will be a scrappy game in that midfield. And I think Lewis Cook will score well from that, because if he wins a few challenges, gets a few passes out there, and Bournemouth do well against West Ham, I think all four of these cards could score well. And then I'm going to be going for new boy, Leif Davis, throwing him straight in to Division 1 in-season lineup. This is why we bought him. He's playing Wolves, and Wolves are terrible. Wolves are useless. This could be the last game for the manager. Leif Davis is Ipswich's attacking defender, set pieces, corners. Could do well. Could do well. So, and I think this is in a Division 1 lineup. The reason why I'm putting it in Division 1, because on paper, it's a really good fixture for all of them. And also, I just think in Division 1, I'm going to be playing against lineups with Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, City. You know, they're going to be playing all of those guys. So I think people with Bournemouth cards will probably play them in like Division 3 or Division 4. So again, I'm trying to be clever. I'm trying to think if these guys all smash in a league, again, in a Division 1 league where there probably aren't going to be many Leif Davises, there probably aren't going to be many Bournemouth cards, it might give me an edge. So that's my thinking for this lineup. Let me know in the comments if that's crazy and if this should be a Division 3 lineup or a Division 4 lineup. But that's my thinking. For my second strongest lineup, I'm backing Forest because they're playing Aston Villa. Now, on paper, Villa seems like a tricky team, but Villa have been struggling in the league this year. They're kind of doing what Newcastle did last year, where they're struggling to balance Champions League and Premier League. And Champions League is like more exciting. So it seems like they're kind of doing well in the Champions League, but it's costing them the Premier League. With that in mind, Nottingham Forest at home, having just got a win away at Old Trafford, should do well against Villa. So these 4 cards I'm going to be going for with Cole Palmer, who's on fire, maybe the best one, you know, becoming one of the best players in the world. That's not just the Chelsea fan talking. Cole Palmer is becoming one of the best players in the world. Don't get too excited, but becoming one of the best players in the world. So Brentford at home. He's had a rest midweek. Cole Palmer's got to be captain. Forest boys. And then third Premier League team. And I am quite enjoying having 3 Premier League lineups in season now. There was a time when it was only 2. And now it seems like I'm playing 3 Premier League lineups in season. And it's not like the third one is a throwaway gamble. The third one is competitive. I mean, Nick Pope, Leicester at home. That's a great fixture for him. So he fits the bill as the classic card to play. And then Estupinan, Crystal Palace at home. I know Brighton and Crystal Palace games are a bit heated, are quite passionate affairs, but I just think Brighton are in good form. Estupinan is attacking a lot, and that's a good fixture for him. So he's going to be in there. It's not like I feel like, oh, he's a gamble, maybe he plays. That should be a good game for him against Palace at home. Gibbs White, again, Forest at Villa. I didn't put him in this team because I am struggling in depth in my in-season Premier League cards in midfield. That is the position I'm struggling the most. Midfield, Lewis Cook and Gibbs White are kind of my 2 best midfielders in season. Then I don't have a lot. So what I'm looking to spend this money on is a Premier League in-season midfielder. My number 1 choice is Moises Caicedo at Chelsea. I've just not been able to get him for under £20. He's a little bit over £20, so I just can't afford him. So I'm hoping maybe after in the weekend when, because the prices are a little bit increased before the deadline, as always. After the deadline closes, maybe his price drops a little bit and I can swoop him up. Or I'm looking at a few other midfielders. James Maddison is one. He's under £20. There's a few others. I've got a watch list. But for now, Gibbs White, I'm going to play him in this lineup and not this lineup because I'm not as confident about him compared to Palmer or the 2 strikers. Chris Wood's a 40% doubt, but he's always a 40% doubt and he always seems to be playing. So I'm going to be putting him in this lineup. Gibbs White, and then I'm going to be going for the 2 Wolves boys. Not putting them in my first division like last week. I've learnt my lesson there. Going to be putting them in this lineup because it's the last game for the manager. Maybe the players are motivated, and it is Ipswich at home, which on paper is a good fixture. It's just that I don't have much confidence here, but I'm putting them in here because you've got to. If I didn't play them and they did well, I would just be like, why did you not play your Wolves strikers when they had Ipswich at home? So I've got to play them on the kind of fixture logic, but they're in Division 4 lineup because of that. Then I'm going to be backing my Chelsea boys, 4 of them against Brentford at home in Premier League Classic, with Sam Johnston, who, good news for me, played for Wolves last week. So finally, Wolves have got rid of Jose Sarr, who was terrible. I don't know why he was in the team that long. Sam Johnston's back in the team. Hopefully holds his place. I don't know if he's going to play this week. They've given him a 40% chance of playing because of that. I do think he will play because he didn't make any obvious mistakes last game. So it would be strange to then drop him and bring back Sarr for this game. So I'm hoping as a Sam Johnston card owner that he definitely holds his plays and becomes a Premier League classic goalkeeper for me, because that's very useful. But there is a chance that he doesn't play. So let's see what happens. But Chelsea boys should all play. The one I'm least confident about is Jadon Sancho, just because it seems that Maresca is rotating a little bit now with the wingers at Chelsea. It seems like he's playing wing-backs some games, and the games when he's not playing wing-backs, João Felix is getting an appearance here and there. Neto is playing here and there. Madueke is still in the team. Sancho's been playing well. He's in the team. I think Sancho deserves to play, so I'm picking him over Madueke, over Neto, over Felix. I have all of their cards. I just think Sancho is the one that deserves to play. And in the wing-back system, if that's what they play, Sancho suits it well. So let's see what happens. I think it will be harsh to drop Sancho, but it wouldn't surprise me. But he could come off the bench and do well as well. So that's why he's there. And then my last lineup is West Ham. Bowen, Kudos, Fabianski, Kilman. On their day could score well. So if this Bournemouth plan fails, hopefully not, fingers crossed. If this fails, this could do well. So I've done what I did last week, where the West Ham team are my insurance policy. And Solanke's playing Southampton away. Great fixture for Spurs. He's captain. No second doubts there. Then there's some warm-up leagues where, so if you can see here, this is what I'm doing, but it's working. It worked last week, I should say. But Premier League is my focus, and then the rest of the contender and challenger, I'm just not putting out any classic lineups and just playing the warm-up leagues with players that are gambled, players that I think, maybe he could do well, maybe Semedo could do well, maybe Calvo could do well because he usually does well. And Calvo's the kind of card where in a challenger lineup, I'd have 4 cards with him and he'd do well. I don't have 4 good cards anymore in challenger and classic. I've got rid of them, or I never had them in the first place, to be honest. So I think it's just a better strategy for me to play him, who's a good scorer, with 4 big scoring cards and hope to pick up a box. Contender, no lineups in contender. It doesn't help that my biggest contender cards are at Santos and Necaxa, my 2 Mexican teams. They've both not made the next stage of the season in Mexico. Thank you, Santos, for finishing bottom of the league. Thank you, Santos. But so contender is going to be very quiet for me for a few months, but it means I'll just play the warm-ups with a guy who should do well. Pintando usually, on his day can score 80 plus scores with cards that are scoring really well. Under 23, we've been relegated to Division 2, but these guys could score well and get us back into Division 1. Madueke is a bit of a risk, but I've captained him because if he plays, it's Brentford at home and he could do really well. If he doesn't play, this lineup could struggle, but he has to play because I think these 4 cards could score well. Madueke is the one I'm risky about, therefore he's captain, if that makes sense. And then we've got a warm-up league where I can play Moise Caicedo, at least in the under 23 warm-up league. And then we've got some training lineups. So those are my lineups for the weekend coming up, guys. I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to Wolves, Ipswich, and Bournemouth, West Ham. They're going to be the games I try and watch this weekend, hoping Evan Nielsen gets a hat-trick, hoping those hat-tricks are all assisted by Lewis Cook, and that Kepa and Zabani can keep clean sheets. Good luck with your coming weekends, people. Let me know in the comments what you think. I always appreciate the feedback in the comments. I'll see you next week. Peace.